Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Snorm with Crave Community Solutions and Status Network. We are out here for the second annual Ralph Garr-Bill Lucas Classic between Grambling State University and Florida A&M, and we're so excited again to take a couple minutes with the head coach for Florida A&M. For people who aren't familiar with you, let us know your name and a little bit of your baseball background.
Yeah, my name's Jamie Shoup, lifelong baseball guy. My career began as a player at Florida State back in the early 80s, and then went and played professional baseball, was drafted by the Houston Astros in the 8th round, and got to play 4 or 5 years with the Astros, and then got out of baseball for a few years and then went back to Florida State, my alumni, and coached there as a recruiting coordinator and an assistant coach and pitching coach for 21 seasons. And then I was fortunate enough to get the job in 2013, get hired at Florida A&M University to run that program, and have been there 9 years. I'm going on my 9th season now. We're fortunate moving to the SWAC this year, but in the 9 years, 8 playing, COVID took 1 year away. We were fortunate to win 2 MEAC titles, and we've kind of got some resurgence in the FAMU baseball program. When we took over that program, it was a little bit down. It wasn't the traditional program that FAMU had been in the past, and we've been fortunate enough to turn that around, and hopefully we can make a name for ourselves in the SWAC. We played SWAC baseball last weekend to start the season, and we're certainly excited about this weekend playing against Grambling.
Coming into tonight's series, the first game is, quote, always big because you're trying to set the tone.
Yeah.
What are some key things that you think your team's going to have to do to put yourselves in a position to really set a, for lack of a better term, set the tone, deliver a constructive message tonight?
Well, coming into the season, still early. This is the second weekend of the season, so I just want to see us play better. Win, lose, or draw. I just want to see our guys go out and compete, play the game a little bit better fundamentally that we played. We were very fortunate to win 2 out of 3 last weekend in New Orleans in the SWAC tournament there. But we need to play better baseball, putting ourselves in a position, because this is second week, and it's early, but week 5 of the season, we're in SWAC play, and those games count toward our postseason. You're not going to see many teams in the SWAC, or if any teams in the SWAC, that get an at-large bid. It's all based on who wins the tournament, and the tournament is determined. Seeding is determined by the regular season. So even though it's early, 2 weeks into the season, week 5 we begin conference play, and I just want to see our guys get in a better position fundamentally and play a little bit better brand of baseball than what we played this past weekend. Even though we were fortunate to win 2 out of 3, I just want to see us get ourselves in a little bit of stride and start playing a little bit better.
Chemistry and character, these are 2 things that are just constants in for any team.
Yeah.
Walk through with us where you're seeing your team chemistry and character, if it's growing, if it's already there, things along those lines.
I love that you asked that question, because one thing I preach is attitude and effort, similar to what you mentioned. The character of this baseball team is tremendous, and that's what I love about these guys the most. Evidenced by the fact that we had 29 of our 40 guys make a 3.0 or better, and we have 75% of our student athletes that are 3.0 cum GPA. So that's a good indicator right off the get-go of what kind of young men you have. Guys that are, understand that they need to go to class, need to better themselves, not just as baseball players, but as young men. The second part of that, their second answer to that is something that we don't always, there's different kind of HBCU baseball. We're not all black, as a lot of HBCUs are. We're not all white, like in the past there's been HBCU baseball that's been all white. We're not all Latin like some teams tend to be. What we are is all together, and it's the closest group of young men that I've ever seen on a baseball team. That includes 21 years at Florida State. So I'm very excited about the chemistry of our team. These guys genuinely love each other. They hang out together, white, black, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. They hang out with each other all the time. Our coaching staff's the same way. So I'm just excited to see how that plays into the season, especially in the postseason. I've told our guys before, I want a venue. I want to go a venue because I think there's something this country needs to hear. We're not all this, we're not all that, but we're all together. And if this country can do that, then that supersedes baseball, man. And that's what these young men need to understand. I think they do. I think they understand a little better than this country does sometimes.
And that kind of builds into my last question about what makes this team so special, but also what makes Florida A&M so special.
Florida A&M is a great place. Several years ago, we have a function up on what we call at our stadium, the Hill. Just up on the hill after games, the fans will feed us, the booster clubs. Really not booster clubs, just fans that just congregate up there and feed our guys a little potluck, a little covered dish after a game, and we do that 2 or 3 times. Our fans do, and my background at Florida State and all the time I was there, we had stuff like that, but it wasn't as intimate as it was at FAMU. And the first time that happened, I looked to one of my assistant coaches who had graduated from FAMU, and I said, "Man, you don't realize how special this is to have the fan base and the players getting along so well together, and just it was special." And he looked at me and he said the perfect thing about FAMU. He said, "Coach, there's a lot of love at FAMU," and there is. That's the special thing about FAMU, is there's a lot of love there. People genuinely care about you, and it's been such an honor and pleasure for me to coach these young men at such a great university. That there is a lot of love there.
Coach, thank you so much for taking time during pregame. Best wishes for today. Best wishes during the season.
Thank you. Appreciate that.